Hi, I'm Arnav Bhatnagar. Today I will take you through my journey as a student with Biomimicry Frontiers for their course Inspired by Nature. And I will try to express how the homegrown process of design fiction has helped me get closer to incorporating my passion of being one with nature into a direction towards a tangible product. I've always found it really fascinating that the earth consists of 70% water, and so does the human body. All systems and processes in the natural world produce heat. Similarly, all processes inside the human body are also producing heat. This points towards the fact that the thermal cooling potential of water through the state of change is something that upholds this delicate balance between heat and cooling of nature. All systems in nature incorporate the water cycle in its working. And if we need to move towards a more sustainable future, we need to design our man made systems to do the same. This was a fragmented thought, but with the communication with the Commons group, it allowed me to explore it and actually frame the problem. Ben, another student, pointed out about how trees are really similar to buildings in the natural world. This made me explore the constant relationship of a tree with the water cycle, exploring all the steps that were involved in the process. It pointed out as to how a building was interacting with the water cycle in the same way for the first few steps, but then deviated from the process. At this point, I started to look at all the steps of movement of water through capillary action and tried to replicate a similar scenario wherein a large glass facade had a water storage tank at the bottom of it, and using capillary action or evaporation, absorbing the heat of the building, it would evaporate and condensate into the storage tank of the building. This would allow the building to be thermally cooled by the movement of water on its facade. In an ideal system, this would be a closed loop system. The building would transport water via evaporation or capillary action while thermally cooling the building. This water would then be used by the residents and finally be put back into the natural filtration system to be pumped back into the building. The very amount of water that we had in the start would be circulated inside the system constantly, making it an ideal closed loop system. This discussion with the group also happened one on one with the biomimicry professors. Asha mentioned to apply the system into a modular approach. This meant that we could look into the air gap between the window panels to conduct the evaporative cooling and thus cool the building's facade. Raoul mentioned how the water cycle was interacting with the ecosystem of trees, and thus we should look into the ecosystem of buildings and how that is incorporating the water cycle as a whole. Asha and Jamie both felt that I should now dive deep into each step of interaction between living organisms and the water cycle. This would help me understand how to connect man made structures into the water cycle and thus make them an integral part of the functioning of nature.